The Deputy Speaker, PFF. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen from the Fourth Estate. A couple of days ago, we have witnessed the closure of the Nation Media Group and its institutions, including the NTV, the Daily Monitor, Dembe FM, and KFM radio stations. It looks like members of the Fourth Estate here are also scared something will happen to their media houses because of this kind of occurrences. We are very well aware that the in charge of the Uganda Communication Commission has denied the undertaking. Honorable Nyombi Tembo, he did not participate in this operation, and yet it is in his docket as the regulator of the media. The Media Council also is not part of it. Yet these are the statutory bodies which are supposed to be the regulators of communication. And we are now aware that only one person, the CDF, has laid claim of the operation that switched off the the Nation Media Group. And has been very clear that he gets this authority from his father, the president of this country, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. We would believe that Uganda should be ruled under the Constitution and the rule of law. That is what we civilians would believe. That is what you think should happen. And when I stand where the civilians, the civil authority stands, that is what we wish our country to be governed as. A country that respects its institutions, a country whose governance is under the rule of law. That is what happens in the civilized world. And that was the aspiration of the people who went to the bush, who brought this government in 1986. And many lives were lost. And we thought that we were building from scratch, from time to time building our country through the constitution making process and having it implemented, through the laws and regulations which have been enacted and we think should be followed. But this Kisanja, hakuna sleep, hakuna kulala, is becoming a disaster, a catastrophe, and the worst times reminiscent of what happened under Idi Amin Gaddafi Marshal all the times. I think there is a slumber on the part of those people who are being paid by our taxpayers. They are paid to do the work effectively, efficiently, and to enable the laws to work. What has been the statement from the executive director of the Uganda Communication Commission, apart from distancing himself from the fact that the closure was not by his authority, by somebody else. This is the body that must take responsibility about the closure of the institutions that give us news and keep us appraised of what is happening before us. A mere claim that is not part of it is not enough, because he must prove beyond reasonable doubt he's not part of it. And if he's not part of it, then he should resign. How can you be paid taxpayers' money to head an institution that is supposed to regulate the media, and then you just feign lack of responsibility and you act on nothing? A responsible executive director should be in position to call the appointing authority to say that my power has been grabbed, and you report whoever is grabbing your power. And if that power is not returned to you so that you return the Nation Media Group to air, then you resign, because your power has been grabbed and you cannot fight back. Any responsible executive director has only two options to do: call the shots and say, I cannot allow this because my power has been grabbed. I can be taken to the court of law to answer questions which I am not responsible for, and therefore I ask the appointing authority to intervene government-wide to enable me get back the power and return Nation Media Group to air. That's the responsibility of Mr. Tembo, who simply feigns ignorance of what happened and he goes back to bed to eat our taxpayers' money. You either call shots from the appointing authority, who happens to be the president and the father of the CDF, or declare yourself powerless, responsibilityless, and resign. That would be a positive way forward. Then there is this one, the IGP, the Inspector General of Police. The institution that we know that should take charge of any kind of criminality or civil action to be done is the police, the Uganda Police Force. It has never been in the powers of the army, of the military, to undertake such operations. Should there be anything that the Nation Media Group would have committed against the state, then it is in the powers of the police to come out and go and apprehend such institutions and cause certain actions to be done through the relevant commission, such as the UCC. That is what a responsible government does. Coordinated institutions. If the power of the Uganda Police Force has been taken over by the army, the UPDF, then the IGP should say so and act so. Call the appointing authority and say, my power has been taken away from me. If at all the appointing authority does not act, then you should resign instead of eating taxpayers' money. Ugandans are burdened by a lot of taxes and they pay for these offices. These institutions that they are closing pay a lot of money. In fact, I heard that the CDF himself, in his own words, in his own tweets, said that the Nation Media Group, upon their closure, are losing 5 million USD every day, and he was happy with that. But when the Nation Media Group goes to court and wins the case, is it the CDF who caused these actions as he claims? Is it the one going to pay for that? It is government of Uganda that is going to pay for the actions, not even mistakes, of a man who wields or claims to wield a lot of power, where his father is looking on. This message goes to the taxpayers who happen to be the civilian authority, that you need to raise your voices against these nefarious things, because none of the members of the civil authority owns the nation media group, but you are consumers of their products in terms of news and information. But their closure also means a lot, especially when the government is taken to the courts of law and a case is won against this government, because you, the civilian authority, are going to pay through your nose to pay the nation media group for the mistake or for the deeds committed by somebody who is misusing office and abusing power. So the citizens must rise up. They must rise up. They must speak loudly so that things can be changed. I would have wanted to discuss the Constitution, which limits the powers of the UPDF, and therefore the leader of the UPDF, but that is going to be for another day. The cooperation of our parties is going to produce a dossier which is going to help Ugandans understand the limits of the powers of those who are misusing it, and to ensure that the country knows that if they are not in charge, their power is going to be taken away. The same vein, you heard that overarching powers have been used again to arrest, not even to arrest, abduct another senior citizen. And that is none other than Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe. The PFF doesn't know where Miriam Matembe is now. But according to the person who governs this country on X, his tweets depict that he was also abducted. And unlike for our party president, Elias Lukwago, we don't know where Miriam Matembe is. Even her family doesn't know where she is. It looks like very many people are going to be arrested within this season. It is not even an election season. And maybe this season is telling us about what's going to happen in a few months to come. Nobody is safe. Nobody should talk, should speak. We must all remain very quiet, and things must be done the way they want them to be done. Even in the Constitution, when the UPDF is told the military is commanded to foster harmony and understanding between the defense forces and the civilians, what we see today is disharmony. And those at the helm of leadership of this country are simply keeping quiet. They are abetting the situation. We want to make demands, and our legitimate demands are the following: the immediate release of Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe, a senior citizen, from whichever detention she is now. She should be set free, and somebody should take responsibility about any kind of compensation that should be done. We also demand the freedom of our leader, Elias Lukwago, who was also detained in the same way, and the many other prisoners detained in a similar manner. We want an apology from the head of state about the nefarious things that are happening today under his watch. We demand that NTV, the Daily Monitor, and all the Nation Media Group institutions should be reopened with immediate effect and compensate them for the loss they have made under the actions and misdeeds of whoever made this. We demand that the Executive Director of the Uganda Communication Commission should resign or cause a crisis meeting in government to ensure that the power that has been taken away from him is rectified, reinstituted, so that he can do his work without interference from the army, in particular from the son of the president. We demand that this government drops all political charges against Dr. Besigye, against Obed Lutale, against Elias Lukwago, Sam Makoha, and all other political prisoners they have detained within this season, and also rescind the document on persona non grata to Martha Karua, so that she can come and defend Dr. Kizza Besigye in the courts of law, if at all is not released by our demand. We also demand that the General CDF Rugaba should desist from political commentary and media censorship, and the UPDF Act and the Constitution, which do not give him those powers. He should know that these can act against him as an individual. In the event that these demands are not met, we are calling upon the Nation Media Group to sue this government, to sue the Attorney General and the person responsible for switching off these institutions. And the PFF will be behind them to support them too. We want to thank you very much, members of the Fourth Estate, for covering this. I know freedom of speech is becoming increasingly untolerated. It is becoming increasingly risky. But we shall not tire to tell the nation that Uganda deserves better. We shall never tire to tell the nation that we want freedom. We want a Uganda that is free for all of us, including those in the military. We want a Uganda that is fair. A Uganda where we can all work without being intimidated. A Uganda where business can be done. A Uganda that can attract investors without fearing that any upheaval is going to happen in the country. We want a Uganda that is stable for all of us. And we want a Uganda that has people who can stand up and be counted. We want a Uganda that can fight for the rights of all people. The silence of the people who should shout out is killing Uganda. We must be thankful for all those who have come out. And they have enlisted themselves, raised their voices, including the Kabaka of Uganda. He recently extended his sympathies to the people who have been embarrassed by the high-handed men in uniform led by the CDF, especially our leader Elias Lukwago, for whatever has happened. And he cautioned that should this be allowed to go on, our country will fall back from where we came from. We want to thank the Kabaka of Uganda for that voice. want to continue to thank Bishop Bukomeko. He came out very strongly. We want to continue to thank the Uganda Law Society. We want to continue to thank the media, because you have always come out and aired our voices. Even when you don't say, even when you disclaim that it is not about you or the media house that you represent, at least our voices are being heard, and the population has been told what is at stake. We want to call upon Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, who happens to have been conscripted in PLU. We want to call upon the Chief Justice. Under all these nefarious things are happening, where people are incarcerated in prisons instead of being taken to specialized hospitals where they can get life. We want to thank Prince Nakimingi Mbuga. He came out very strongly yesterday against these nefarious things and those people who hold power and misuse it to the suffering and the chagrin of the whole country. Thank you very much, Prince Nakimingi. You do us proud. We want to call upon the Parliament of Uganda, not only the members of Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know whether your party, the new party called PLU, of which you are a member, a party within a party which you represent in Parliament, not to embarrass us further, but to talk to your leader in PLU that the country is being embarrassed. This country has been embarrassed in the whole of this East African community. From the declaration of Martha Karua as a persona non grata, now to the closure of the Nation Media Group, which employs Ugandans in Nation Media Group Uganda, where our people are getting a salary, where you tax them and put in your coffers and you share it. This closure, which is illegal, it must be reversed with a lot of apology to the East African community. What call upon President Museveni, because he has just sworn in as the new president and the commander-in-chief of armed forces, that these things belong to you, nobody else. If no institutions are in charge, if at all the institution of the presidency is also not in charge, let us know that Uganda is under siege. But allowing this country to descend into a Amini's era is a mistake and a luxury that your leadership should not allow to continue. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for that elaborate submission. If there is a question, right?
Thank you, Mr. President. My question is one. We understand tomorrow that is the list, and the Lord Mayor is supposed to be back to court. We're waiting for that. Lord Mayor coming, because we do not know that he might be having some information from where he is. Then what's the fate of Dr. Elizabeth? Because we know all the lead lawyers. One is not allowed to the country, and lastly is Mr. President, how are you sure that you are safe? Because you saw what happened over the weekend. And whoever said anything
That is intimidation.
you know, this is a question. I need also to know, because you never know. We need to at least talk about this first. And we understand whoever says anything is taken in the dungeon. Then we come on the platform asking, where is this one? Where is this one? We don't know where they are. And my question is, how are you safe? What guarantees your safety as you as a person?
I said from the beginning that nobody is safe. So I don't know whether I'm going to be picked. What I know is that I have not been warned yet. But when I am picked, Kenneth will take over. He's the deputy speaker of PFF. He'll take over. If at all he's picked, Kaija will take over. And he'll continue to speak what we are speaking. If Kaija is picked, Dr. Semambo will come in. And we shall continue to talk. Even you are not safe. Because you are covering this and you are going to allow it on your media houses. Even the media houses, your association must come out and condemn. Like we are telling the executive director of the Uganda Communication Commission, apart from running away from responsibility, did he condemn the act? Shame! We must all rise up. That's why we are calling upon everybody. This was a local problem. It became a Ugandan problem. Now it's an East African problem. And thanks to the media, you are continuing to make it an international problem. Soon we shall have it discussed in the European Union Parliament, in the UK Parliament. We shall hear it in the House of Commons. We want to hear it in Congress. We want to hear it everywhere. Let us know that we shall never be alone in the struggle for justice and human rights. We shall never be alone. In respect of Dr. Kizza Besigye and Lukwago, yes, they will be produced to court. I don't know if at all the leader, Dr. Besigye, will be in position to come to court without his lead lawyers. The Constitution guarantees him the right to have the representation of his choice. And if at all his representation, the representation of his choice is Martha Karua, the lead, and Elias Lukwago, the deputy lead, together with other counsel below them, they will have them. He must have them. The case can't proceed. And that is the beauty about it. For him, is Gumite. He'd rather remain in prison than having him tried before incompetent and the people who are interested in victimizing him. He'd rather remain in prison if that is what they want. So whoever wanted a speedy trial, Mr. Baguma, he wanted a speedy trial. No, there cannot be a speedy trial without the counsel of choice. Martha Karua, they must rescind the persona non grata declaration against her, and they must free Elias Lukwago to represent him as a client. That is his choice. You know that the man who wanted a speedy trial is now going to be stuck in the mud. Because the lawyers who were supposed to go to Dr. Kizza Besigye and examine and hear about this kind of the evidence which they brought, electronic evidence that they brought, have not carried out that responsibility, and they are now supposed to go and defend Dr. Besigye in the courts of law. Can you imagine a man who wanted to have a speedy trial? It is him, Baguma, who summoned Gen.Muhoozi. It is the Baguma, Emmanuel. Manuel Baguma. He summoned the CDF to come and defend himself before him in High Court. And we expect the CDF tomorrow. High Court. And the CDF court, he got the summons. Although they abducted Lukwago from home, but at least we know that he answered. He answered. So Baguma should have condemned the person who obstructed the process of court. He has not come out. I don't know if at all he will come to court. He must be afraid too. I don't think he's safe like me. can't be safe. How can he order the CDF to come to court? That is the question the CDF is going to ask him. How dare you? And the Baguma must answer. Baguma must answer. Where does he get the authority to summon the CDF, son of the president? Where does he get that authority? I don't know where is it, whether he's in Uganda now. That was a sin. I mean, it was sacrilege. He didn't know it was sacrilege. So where does it leave the case? Everybody is now in the mud created by themselves. So for us who are telling them the truth, for us who are advising them, we cannot, Uganda should not allow us to be victimized so that we live in fear. Let them take all of us.
Thank you so much. On that very note, we will be meeting in both courts. That is both Makinde and High Court, same time at 10. Since there are no questions, Mr. Chairman. Musana.